How do I get a manager? Well, don't you just bombard management companies with email submissions and demos until eventually one of them notices you? Well, in case you're wondering, no is the answer to that. Now, this topic is quite close to our hearts because we also operate an artist management company as well as artist coaching. So we get to see this from both sides of the industry. So if this is a question that you've been asking yourself too, then you're in good company. Now, the advice that you generally find on this topic is quite narrowly focused. For example, how to approach management companies, how to find directories and listings, pros and cons of different styles of management, etc. These kinds of things. Now, these are all valid considerations, but critically, there is a piece of the advice that's usually missing. So before asking yourself, how can I get a manager? Just consider these two questions. Why do you want a manager? And why would a manager want you? There are usually two main reasons that artists tell us they want a manager. First, they think that the manager is going to unlock all the doors and give them all the contacts. And secondly, they think that the manager is going to help take on all the work and make a lot of the decisions for them so that they don't have to. But there's so much more to the role of a manager than just that. Firstly, managers are only going to pitch you out to their contacts once you're ready. So they may help you get ready, but they're only going to pitch you out when you're ready. The idea that a music mogul manager can make you successful just by putting in a few phone calls and putting you in touch with a couple of people is a very unrealistic concept. And even if that was the case, your career would be resting just on this one individual, which would be a very fragile career indeed. Secondly, managers are not there to take over what you're doing. They're not your boss. You are the one appointing them. So you're the one that still needs to retain some control and be on top of what it is that you're doing. Otherwise, you are going to run into problems. And if you only want a manager who's going to take on the hassle of all the work that you don't want to do, then you're not really going to be very appealing to a manager. A manager wants artists who are savvy, hardworking, kind of have something going on, got it together, and can work as a team. Okay, so it's vital that you have a really strong relationship with your manager. You can't be disinterested or not participating in any of the decisions or the activities or even the choices in the long-term vision. And on the flip side, the manager needs to be symbiotic to what it is that you're doing in your career. It's quite a unique working relationship that you don't really tend to see across other types of industries, where you're both contributing to a level of success that you probably wouldn't be able to attain individually. So a manager can bring all these aspects to the table to help you move forwards, but you have to be in a position to be able to benefit from them. So how do you know when you're actually ready for a manager? Now, this is difficult because most artists tend to feel that they are ready, or that maybe they could get lucky and then find a manager. You probably already believe in your music, feel that your talent's been developed, think that you're pretty good and that you've got a good chance and a good shot at something. You may already have music out or about to be releasing music. It feels right to you. You kind of feel ready. But what you're not considering really is all the other artists that the manager can choose from. There's just so many artists out there at the moment, and quite simply, there's just not enough managers to go around. So just consider things from a manager's perspective, just for a moment. I'm sure, as you know, managers earn their income on a commission of what the artist makes. So therefore, if you're an emerging artist, it's quite likely that a manager will probably earn nothing. Usually would incur expenses and cost, if anything, for the first couple of years of working with you. Now, this does not mean that managers are only interested in money. In fact, on the contrary, most of the managers that I've ever met are in it because they love music. Music managers would not choose to be music managers if they're only interested in money. But this does not change the fact that the music business is a business. So consider these two questions. Why would a manager choose an artist who is so undeveloped that it's quite hard to identify any real commercial potential over an artist who already demonstrates lots of it? And why would a manager choose an artist who needs loads of development over another artist who needs a lot less? There's no doubt that music and talent are the two most important things, not just in terms of finding a manager, but in terms of your whole career. But there is so much else to consider. So the way to get a manager is to already be managing yourself. already be developing your sound, finding your sonic and artistic identity, and being strategically consistent. You should already be creating and writing lots of demos and songs, hustling for gigs and developing your live act and constantly improving your musicianship. And you should already be developing your artist brand, building an online presence, building your fan base, reaching out to blogs, PR, and pitching yourself to playlists, radio. And you should already be immersed in your local music scene and your own genre. Have a really clear idea about who you are and your potential fan base, and so many other things that's too numerous to list. So the further you are along on your journey, the more you close the gap on attracting a manager. You're demonstrating how little development there is still to do, and that you understand and are already working on the components towards your own success. It should appear as though you're already on your pathway to career success, regardless of who joins your team. Now, it's at that point that you can confidently start sending out demos and submissions to artist management companies. And you don't necessarily even need at this point to have loads of followers or loads of streams, or even have released loads of music. It's more about having as much in place as possible along the lines of the things that I've already mentioned, and just having a really solid artist proposition. You may even find, once you've achieved that managers will find you, or you'll find somebody in the scene and the activity within which you're immersed. So a manager can then come and supercharge the momentum that you've already established for yourself. So for a manager to try and breathe life into a completely standing start is both very difficult and quite unappealing. Remember, you compete with so many other artists who are starting to get all this kind of stuff in place for themselves and are developing themselves in this way. As I'm sure you must know, there's an explosion of people releasing music and trying to manage their own careers and launch themselves into the industry. It's a lot of people all competing for the same space. And that's why we're also seeing more artists investing their time, energy and money into music business courses and artist development and music marketing training and all these kinds of aspects to try to help themselves have their own career and build their own businesses. The successful modern artist really understands that they are running their own business. And in fact, you can have great success without even needing a manager at all. The amazing thing that we really notice is just how few artists are actually doing this. So really ask yourself, are you really genuinely doing this? All the things that I've mentioned, are you building that for yourself? Or really are you finding yourself quite stuck, sort of going around in circles, but not really progressing, even though it feels like you're busy all the time? Or maybe you feel that you're uncertain as to whether you think perhaps you're capable or have the right knowledge to be able to do this for yourself. So if that's the case, let me reassure you that you are very, very capable of doing this. I see it in the artists that we coach, many artists, and the thousands of artists that I've worked with over my working life, that any artist can take themselves from where they currently are and move themselves to the next level. Any artist. So you can do this. So focus on building your own success and your own career. Don't wait for someone else, a third party, to come and make it happen for you, or to discover you, or to notice you. Become noticeable, become discoverable, become undeniable, because that is the kind of artist who's going to get a manager. I really hope that you found this video useful, and if you did, it'd be really grateful if you give it a like, and we would just love to hear from you in the comments below about how you're getting on with your artist project. We'll see you next time.